Gary, I'm gonna ask you the same question. What, drew you to your character?
I had actually known Anthony previously prior to working on Trace, and had a friendship with him, talked about working on a couple of projects. I was actually supposed to work with him on Conframa, which was a television show that he shoots and he created as well. And just through that relationship, he brought Trace to me when he was creating it. He just kind of let me know, hey, I'm, just putting this in your ear. I might be working on something, and I just want to let you know that I'm thinking of you for this role. And I was like, hey, I'm always down. Just let me know. When he finished and everything, and he presented it to me, and I loved the first script. He only sent me the first script first. And I read it, and I was just like, love the layers, and then when he told me it was a true story or based off of a true story, I was like, definitely got to research, definitely got to look at that. And so I just love the idea of jumping into a character that I had to do a little digging for. And I did. I was watching all the serial killer movies I could, and all of the detective movies that I could. I'm actually the black sheep of my family, where most of the men in my family are either law enforcement or military. And so I was also in their ear, making sure that I had everything correct, and down to the T as much as I could. And so, yeah, it was cool working on that in the pandemic, because I really got to kind of like take my time and just kind of be in my own bubble. Sorry, there's a car alarm going off outside my house. But wonderful Zoom, yay. But yeah, no, that was what really drew me to everything, was the fact that I could work with someone that I had a previous relationship with, and also have a character that I could really dive deep into, for sure.
Much like the movie, the series, you guys are connected in some way, shape, or form prior to actually doing this project. So, Anthony, I want to ask you, how were you able to connect everybody in the series so effortlessly?
You know what? To be perfectly honest, and I was really just talking to Spencer about this the other day, that because Spencer and I have been working all year, not to complain, but it's like literally been a nonstop situation. Yeah. That when we got the moment to really, when we stopped and we was like, and we looked at, because somebody else had posted like something about Trace, and I was like, oh my gosh. And me and Spencer was like, we did that show. We did that show. So then, to be perfectly honest, the other girl who was supposed to play Detective Miller, things happened, and fate led us to Eugena, and literally, and I tell her this all the time from day one when she was on set, that I was like, man, every time I look at her in the camera, she was so stunning on camera. Like, I was just blown away, like, every time I saw her on camera. So I was just like, okay. But
definitely can't see anybody else playing that role, for sure.
No, exactly.
No, definitely can't anymore. And and the thing is, like, for me, I spent time with the other person. I was actually, there rehearsing, and I was like, I can't. There's no way I can I can see anybody else play that. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah. So when Gary when we finally got on set and we started doing the work, I was just so I was amazed, because the level of commitment that he was willing to do for the role. Because you can tell, I told Spencer all the time, I'm like, I said, Lord, is he gonna want to do that? I don't know if he's gonna want to do that. But then, and he literally, he would come on set and just do, and just effortlessly do it. And I was so pleased. But also the other characters that are also in the show tie in the story so well. Like Nate Lavelle, oh my God. Like, Nate. his drag performances, the drag performances was great. Mama Pinocchio.
Mama Patino.
Ruby.
But everybody calls me Mama.
Ruby.
Right.
Yes.
Ruby. Every time I look back at that scene, and first
short,
of all,
but sweet.
It's a short scene, but it was so great. But I also got to give props to Brianna, who was a director of the photography. She helped make the show look so great. So she did an amazing job helping, and that was my first time working with Black female DP, and she knocked it out of the park. But I mean, all of the stories that were in there were so great, and then also I got to give props to my girl Leilani. Leilani has she plays Captain Johnson. I've worked with Leilani for years and years and years and years, and I literally asked her, like, kind of sort of at the last minute, because Spencer knows that we were trying to get another semi-celebrity person. We're trying to get another semi-celebrity person to play the character, but when I called and I asked Leilani to do it, she said, "This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do this type of role." And she said, "I've never been able to land one of these type of roles because people always think that, you know, I look too young or I'm not able to be firm and stern." And when I tell you, she came in and she was
firm and stern.
Yeah, she came in and it was so great. I was so pleased with everyone.
But Anthony, not to cut you off, I think it's a testament to you because you gave, I think, everybody chances to really kind of dive into something that they hadn't done before. I mean, like Leilani, yes, definitely. But I hopefully I don't speak for myself when it was the same situation for me. And Eugena, I hope that's the same thing for you because, you know, my thing was jumping at the chance, like, wow, I'm finally not seen as like the best friend nerd, you know, kid character, you know, like, and that's what she was saying. I'm seen as this thing always. And you handpick people to say, no, you guys can definitely fulfill these shoes. So I definitely thank you for that.
And Gary, I again, when I was writing it, I like I told you, I had you in mind for that character. Because I see you do everything else. Like I see you do everything else, but I was like, I've never seen him do this. So I was like, and also to the layers of psychotic situations that you had to go through for the show, I knew was going to be challenging because it required a certain level of commitment to make this character look and feel crazy.
Yeah. I appreciate it though. Yeah, like I said, not to cut you off, but I just wanted you to, you know, to have your props because it's one thing for an actor to be like, oh yeah, thank you, but that was just one role, but you had the whole cast feeling that way, and that's a great thing. And same for you, Spencer, being hands-on as a producer, also fulfilling that vision, you know, along with Anthony on set is great. The tandem that you guys had, you know, was fantastic. and look, the tandem don't always have to link up. It could be, you know, polars, you know, it definitely can, you know, but as long as it works together. And that's, you know, when you hear of these huge films and the big sets and all those don't all go smoothly. As a matter of fact, they probably have insane amounts of problems, you know, way more than we had. And so I think that it's just one of those things for a small project to do this in the pandemic, Black creators, you know, you guys got to definitely give yourselves applause for that, for sure.
Thank you for that, guy.
I appreciate it, though. I definitely appreciate it.
That is so beautiful. Y'all just better.
Sorry, Will, we took over your. Hey, look, we interviewing ourselves. Look.
Y'all out here like showing love to each other. Like that is so beautiful. We love to see it, you know. But it's funny that you Gary, I'm going back to you. It's funny that you said that about, you know, like giving people chances and like doing something different outside of yourself. Because I'm not even going to hold you. As I was watching you, I'm like, this ain't Nelson. This ain't AJ. This is a grown man acting. And I'm like, I was really on the edge of my seat. Like, granted, I know who you are, but I was very much into your character, like, and not you. So I definitely did love that, seeing that from you. But I want to ask you, because of the character in particular, because of like the whole mental health issue, things like that, how did you really get into that role, you know?
Yeah, I'm a self-proclaimed hermit, just as far as my career is concerned, when it comes to diving into anything that I have to do, any steps for. And so I just did a lot of research. I was watching a lot of film. I was really studying actors, watching interviews, with actors that had to go through those types of roles. Charlize Theron with Monster, in particular. The things that a lot of people have to go through, to tackle these types of roles is not really talked about, and it's kind of glazed over when we see a lot of people, having hard times in the industry, and you like look at their roles, the past things that they've done. You say, and working on Trace, it would really was apparent that there's a different level of acting there, for sure. And yeah, it was hard. I had to actually send a message to like all of my friends and family, like while I was in production, like I feel different, and so I want you guys to know that if I come off different, or if I come off aggressive, or if I come off passive, or if I, any of those things, I want to let you know that it's this role, it's my work. It just, I think that now it's so great that mental health is being talked about more, because I think that 10 years ago, had I gone through this role, it probably would have done some damage, because of the way it just wasn't talked about, And so I think that now that I have the opportunity to be open, and not feel bad about being open, yeah, especially in the Black space, in the Black community, Black
Right.
males especially. I think that it's one of those things that, yeah, it was just the right time and space for me to really kind of tackle it. And yeah, after being on set and getting into the swing of things, and Eugena doing a great job being my cohort, in that. And it's just really good to have that, yeah, that have that sort of chemistry, when you can bounce off of that. And so I had a great time just really, really diving into the role, but it was a lot different from what I'm used to, obviously. But it was something that I was ready for, something that I was wanting to tackle, always knowing that I could do. And I think that, like I said, that opportunity linking up with Anthony, thinking of me for this role, was just sort of that perfect timing. So, yeah.
Love that answer. Well, Eugenia, I'm gonna go to you. Just like he said, you were his cohort in the film, and you were able to stand alone, but also you were kind of like the sensible person to kind of like try to bring him back into what you knew him as. So what was that like for you to try to, while you're acting, still trying to find that balance between this is who I am, this is who I know, but also, hey, come back home,
You mean like, how do I separate myself from the character?
Yes.
You know what? I didn't really want to. Gary comes from like a very extensive, theatrical background. He's been in this industry for a really long time, whereas I haven't been on the acting side so much. But with modeling, and how my modeling career actually happened, was I had to communicate with so many different types of people and learn how to connect with so many different types of people. And that's how I was able to have a successful career, is because I know how to communicate and connect to people. And I think that's a lot of what acting is, despite like your training or anything like that. It's like, how do you connect with people? How do you see people? And how can you move people? So my thing was, for me to get ready for this role in modeling, you're not able to be an authority in your space. You go where people tell you to go. You wear what they tell you to wear. You act how they want you to act. And that was my disposition for a long time. But who I am in the modeling field is literally not who I am, And I feel like maybe Gary can contest to that as well, because, they have him playing these typecast of this nerdy guy. But when I was working with Gary, that seemed like who you were. Detective Williams seemed like a part of you. It didn't seem like you were acting. It just seemed like that's who you were. And I feel like what's so great about acting is you're allowed to take who you really are and put that on display, whereas people don't necessarily see you as that, because they just see what you look like. And so they make assumptions about that. So for me, it wasn't hard for me to get into character, because it was one time where I can just be who I am. That is who I am in my life. I'm a person who's I wouldn't say, yeah, I'm a little authoritative. I am, okay? I do be keeping people on track and in check when they fall off the deep end. You know, I am kind of like that tether to a lot of people in my life. So it was very much so just pulling out a part of me that I like to be, and that I've never shown people, and that was comfortable for me.
I love that answer for multiple reasons. One of them is literally one of the questions I had written down for you is how did the modeling work prepare you to get into, you know, acting? Literally. So I'm like, you know what? You
Two
good
birds,
there.
one
You
stone.
good. That was an easy transition.
Yeah. Yeah, it did, just because my specific journey in modeling, I never was selected off of my images. You know, a lot of girls are just chosen off their pictures, but I literally, and also being a Black woman, had to go in and do the monkey dance and, you know, relate to people and like sell myself and show how I belong here, you know? So that in essence was uncomfortable in that arena, but it really helped me in life and in acting and other things that I wanted to do.